gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Borcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Rick Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now, as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Nice to go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
Smooth stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
Dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, just insane.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to tonight's event, the very French honey-baked Memorial Sprint, brought to you by the J2ICS Cup Series, as well as Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. I am your host, Gareth McAllister, bringing you the action in 1080p and 60 FPS, as long as my down under internet can take the strain. We are bringing you the action here tonight at Daytona International Speedway for the Sprint Series with these LMP3 machines, and we are looking forward to quite a nice event in store tonight. Now we're just getting qualifying beginning as sunset is also starting as qualifying heads underway. Currently taking a little bit of a look at Black Bob Wallace, and he is doing a great job getting himself out of the start here. So what have we got in store tonight? Well, we have 15 minutes of qualifying, bringing it to you as of we are speaking. We have one race that is going to be 20 minutes straight after this, which starts at a sim time of 5 p.m. tonight. Then we have a small intermission, talk to maybe the top 2, maybe the top 3 winners from that said race, followed by a 40-minute longer endurance style race where these drivers will have to stop once with a top 8 reverse grid from the previous race beginning at midnight. Now it is race 7 out of 8 for the Sprint Series. We are getting to the nitty-gritty right down to the end of the season. Our driver standings for the race heading into tonight's event, with Beaver up in front, Urko in the 2nd position, and Simply Steve bringing it home in the 3rd spot. As far as teams are concerned, Speed Squad with Simply Steve and Eat My Dust have just taken over the 1st spot, with Love Seat bringing up 2nd position now with Beaver and Captain CK. Zero Forks given just very recently as well, taking over the 3rd position with Black Bob and Bro Sidon. Still in a very heated battle between these few teams. Out here, I believe we have 11 teams registered for the Sprint Series. Not all coming out here tonight and representing, but we do have a few cars on track, and we'll start seeing them pop up in just a moment. We want to give a shout out to Rising Peaks Coffee for sponsoring this event, as well as every Sprint Series event for this season. Using their website, you can get fresh beans or grind directly to your door. Visit them at risingpeakscoffee.com using code J2I for 15% off of your next purchase. So we are very, very thankful to them being able to provide us with some very talented drivers, and hopefully a good enough broadcast for your viewing pleasure. As you can see sometimes already up on the board, Squilliam is going to be taking top spot at the moment. We're still watching with Nick Beaver. We might move back down the standings just a little bit and have a look at Biker Pilot. I say back down the standings. What I mean is back down the racetrack. And looking like some of the drivers getting a little bit loose. We did hear just before we came into tonight's event that there is a lot of love for me somehow. I heard that quick-witted. Not sure who said it, but someone said it on the driver's radio just before I did it for the stream tonight. So very much love to all of these drivers out on track as well. Our fastest drivers through all 3 practices, we had Squilliam bring it home in practice number 1. Practice 2 was taken home by Jaden Manthamgari. I'm sorry if I butchered that name, but I've tried my absolute best, with Nodovan taking home the top spot in practice number 3. These drivers doing quite a few practices, getting ready for tonight's big event. Some drivers opting to only do 1. Some drivers not doing any at all, just turning up right at the end. And look at that, Nick Beaver setting the fastest time so far with a 1:42.1. That is pretty incredible, if I do say so myself. Fastest times we ever saw in all of those practices, though, was a 1:41.90 set by Nodovan in that 3rd practice. So we will see if he can produce much of the same as he is currently sitting in the 2nd spot, just 0.02 of a second behind Beaver in the 1st position now for qualifying times. Take a bit of a gyro spin, I think. Might be due for one, as we take a qualifying run with AJ. So hard with traffic coming out of pit road. He's going to be probably not super happy, although it can be to his advantage if he tries to use that traffic just ahead on the straightaways and try and get as much drafting help as possible. Really maximize the straight line speed in these LMP3 machines. Little bit of opposite steer as we head to the banking. You can see just how vicious it is banking wise at Daytona. Absolutely brutal on the body. That evens itself back out for the all-important bus stop. Really want to maximize your run out of there. Careful not to get a 1X on that inside curbing on the left there, as he makes his way down the backstretch with as much speed as possible. This looks like it could be a pretty good lap. From what I could see, it seemed like he did a great job as he makes his way back to the line. And a very difficult braking into turn 1 as he gets to the line. Let's take a look. A 1:42.912, so definitely his fastest lap on track so far. Glad he could take us for a spin with him during that. So that was looking at AJ from his gyrocam inside, providing the views of the race tonight. Thank you, AJ. So these drivers have a drive-through at 15 incident points and every 8 after that, which we should be able to see in this first of the 2 races. Just 20 minutes should be enough to avoid it. As you can see there, I believe that was... Who was that just in front of AJ? Had a little bit of a moment. That was Eat My Dust. And AJ's going to take advantage with a nice run through the draft. And maybe improve on his time once again. Nick Beaver is in the pits. He probably believes he's not going to be able to get much better a time than that, unless he decides to come out once more. See how that benefits him later on. Currently watching Donovan go around the circuit. Sitting in P2 at the moment. This track 3.5 at 6 miles. Our pit speed 55 miles an hour. And once again, we'd like to thank all of us thank all of you if you have missed the endurance race last week, as the Just 2 Idiots Cup series do a bi-weekly running of their series, intermingling with each other. Their sprint series first, followed by the endurance series GTEs, or 1.5 hour endurance races. If you were unable to make that race, or purely uninterested and only want to see the sprint series, that is of course purely up to you, and you are all the more power to you to do that. But we would like to basically expand on what we were saying in that race, which is Happy New Year to everyone and anyone, as well as Merry Christmas if I have not been able to get to before now. And Donovan goes for a spin around, and that's really going to hurt some of the drivers coming past, as well as obviously his own way through. Just Dylan, a very nice looking paint scheme, it must be said, as well, making his way around the track. But yeah, as we were saying, hopefully you had a very happy New Year and a very Merry Christmas, as we welcome you to the second week of 2024. I believe it's the second week. That makes sense in my broadcaster maths requiring brain. As 2 sevens make 14, and we're currently sitting on the 10th, so that would make sense. So yeah, this race tonight sponsored by Captain CK as well, specifically this event. Rising Peaks Coffee presenting us with the entire series. Should be said, Captain CK, once again, just like the endurance race we had last week, sponsoring the event, but not able to make it out on track for either of them. So that is a little bit sad to see, but obviously he has some stuff going on, and we wish him well and hope he will be back soon in whatever he is doing or finds himself up to at the moment. I hope everyone had a very, as I said, very nice Christmas, very happy New Year, and it's not too cold or warm, depending on where you are in the globe. I can tell you that we were due for, well, we were told during the winter, as I am in the Southern Hemisphere and the seasons are opposite from the North Americans, that a lot of these people are out on track. So we were bracing for, we were told, would be the worst summer we have ever had, only for the reality to set in, and it has been one of the coldest summers that we have ever had. Usually it would be very, very hot at the moment. However, I am currently sitting in a jumper doing this broadcast, as I am currently freezing. So I hope your winter or summer, wherever you are, has been a bit more predictable. Or not, if you don't like it to be predictable. Up to you, of course. Now, Squilliam sets the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:42.113 last time by. And he's going to come in this time, so he's not going to be setting a better lap, trying to practice his drive into pit road. And we'll see if that was successful. It looks like it may have been, but regardless, he has locked in his time. He will be starting at the front of the grid, bar anyone else getting another flying incredible lap in the next half minute or so. Donovan is still out on track, it must be said. Now, as I said earlier, he has gotten a faster lap previously than the one he has shown up there. No one's cracked the 141s yet, and Donovan is not going to be able to anymore as he sends it just a little too deep into turn one. And that is going to be it for qualifying. We're going to wrap that one up and get ready for drivers to make their way to the grid. Once again, welcome one and all. We are very, very happy to have you. And we are getting ready for the Just Two Idiots Cup Series. Specifically their Sprint Series LMP3s at Daytona Motor Speedway. Lots of banking, lots of tricky corners, a lot of slow corners where these cars can't put too much power down and they may accidentally spin out if applied with any sort of turn as they're heading out of these corners. So without further ado, let's get into it. Squilliam with the Woomates at home in the top spot with a late lunge at Nick Beaver's time, just pipping him to the line, with Nick Beaver in the second spot with Love Seat Racing. Donovan in the third position, lining up there as well, our fastest Canadian on track, with AJ from the Undesirables lining up alongside him in the fourth position. Our third row consisting of Eat My Dust and Black Bob Wallace, with Just Dylan and Urko in the 7th and 8th positions. Urko, we found out, very much a lover of ham, as I'm sure he's going to appreciate me saying that out on stream, as we are in the very French honey-baked ham sprint. Paper Bag and Biker Pilot in the 9th and 10th spots, with Bar South and Nicolator in the 11th and 12th positions. We're going to roll back the grid a little bit further because we've got a couple more drivers out on track. Nick Johnson in the 13th position, with Joe Albanese bringing it up for Rookie Mistake in the 13th and 14th spots respectively. Nick Johnson not with Rookie Mistake with HW Racing, so apologies if thought that, as I realized that I may have made a mistake when I quickly drew them off, as Garlic Dog is in the 15th position and Bozak in the 16th spot, rounding out our 16-car grid here tonight. It looks like Bozak is not going to be taking his luck on the track at the moment, so we're going to be without him right now. But let's get ready to rumble as we are looking for these machines to make their way to the front stretch for the first race of two tonight. 20 minutes to go once we hit the line. And this Porsche pace car could not be much slower right now. Come on, buddy, you can do it. As these LMP3 machines are itching to get their race underway. And the pace car has pulled in, and here we go. Squilliam gets a nice jump out front of everyone else, controlling the lead. Nick Beaver side by side, 3 wide with Donovan and AJ. AJ backs out of it cleverly. Nick Beaver lunges quite nicely towards the back of Squilliam, not letting him get away from him at the moment. Donovan keeps himself in the third spot, under fire from AJ right now, as they head into the first horseshoe. Managed to get through it cleanly. A little bit of a kink to the left and then another right-hand horseshoe. We have a battle side by side. That's going to be Just Dylan and Urko. Urko just beats him to the punch. And there's a massive lockup just behind with Paper Bag. Somehow manages to hold on to it. Great job by Paper Bag there. Keeps it together. And we're looking pretty good right now, except for whatever's just happened there. 3 cars under a blanket 5, and there's a little bit more contact than we'd like to see. And Biker Pilot gets hit. Bar South is involved. And cars have just come out of the woodwork. And that is some craziness. We're going to have to take a look at what exactly happened. We're looking at Bar South, and there were 2, 3 cars wide. It looks wider than it actually is on track. Believe you me. And that was absolutely unfortunate. That was all due to the craziness that unfolded just earlier, as all of these cars were locking up, discovering where they wanted to be, and just nowhere to go between the 2 drivers there. So Nick Johnson involved as well, thankfully getting away without too much issues. Biker Pilot has jumped to pit lane. Barsouth still making his way out on track though, not coming down. He's going to take his chances and hope someone else has some kind of issue. Now Joe Albanese is making his way a little bit further down, as Johnson with a very nice move to the inside there and able to make it stick under heavy brakes for the 11th position. Has to hold on with Albanese coming in. There's a little bit more of a lockup from Paper Bag. It's really going to have to watch that. Those tires are going to be heating up very, very quickly, and they will only get worse and more worn out as they continue to be locked up like that. But we'll go back towards the front as Squilliam, Beaver and Nodovan have separated themselves by a considerable margin, about 1.5 seconds so far. These 3 drivers seemingly in a class of their own at the moment. That could definitely change though as the race wears on. Now Nodovan seems very, very lively at the moment. Pretty close to the back bumper of Beaver. Should have enough room to make a lunge before we get into turn 1 out of the banking of Daytona. And here he goes. He's going to think about it. Oh, potential 3-wide action as Nick Beaver's caught Squilliam. Beaver to the outside. Nodovan's trying to follow him through. There's not going to be enough room before the corner. Side by side, Squilliam and Beaver for the race lead. Squilliam holds on. Beaver goes a little bit wide after a little bit of a lockup. Nodovan tries to take advantage. He's going to be on the outside line, but I don't think it's going to work. And no, it is not, unless he's going to try the over-under. Looks like he might have thought about it, but Beaver's going to be a little bit too strong out of the corner. We've got some support from Squilliam here, as he is running in the top spot right now. Some fans coming out cheering him on. Let us know who you're cheering for and what your thoughts are in the spectator area. Great to see some support for the drivers out on track. Squilliam's currently leading this one, but not by enough, because Beaver is definitely going to have the run into what we call the bus stop. Now, is Squilliam? Yes, he's going to protect the inside line. This could get a little bit dicey. We're going to have to stay with these drivers and see how this one unfolds. Squilliam's going to take it to the inside. Beaver gives him the room. Nicely done. Hurts his exit, and now he's going to find himself in the clutches of Nodovan, not too far behind. Meanwhile, further back in the pack, Nick Johnson is going to take advantage of a little bit of a slip-up from Paper Bag once again. They go side by side. However, Johnson's going to be on the high side line, so he's not going to have the pace he needs down the front stretch back up to the front, because we saw them go too wide, and here they go. Squilliam and Beaver once again. Squilliam's going to protect that inside line, diving it probably a little bit too deep for Beaver's liking, pushing him almost, rubbing up against the side of that machine. Beaver still able to hold on to his second position for the moment. These drivers locked up in an epic battle for the lead. Nodovan setting the fastest lap of the race with a 1:42 flat. See how this one unfolds. Johnson was unable to pass Paper Bag, so Paper Bag still holding on to that 9th position. A little bit of a lockup there from Beaver. I think he's getting a little bit too impatient behind Squilliam. We'll see what happens here as Nodovan takes the inside line. He's just alongside enough, but Beaver has the run going a little bit wider. It's not going to be enough for Beaver, though. Here comes Nodovan. Nodovan to the inside line. He's going to make it work. There is no way he doesn't. Allowing enough room, squeezing up in front of Beaver. And these three drivers are about to have company. Don't look too far behind because Eat My Dust and AJ are coming. And they are coming in a hurry. Urko not too far behind them either, but a little bit further back for sure. As Nodovan's now going to take a run at Squilliam. To the high side once again. Side by side, Nodovan does lead this lap. And we'll see what can come of it. Nothing at the moment. Very hard to make a move. Beaver's going to take advantage though. And takes that spot. Or does he? Is Nodovan still there? Holding on for dear life is Nodovan. And sticks with it. Beaver still in the third position for now. And here comes Eat My Dust and AJ not too far behind. With Urko a little bit further back. But still in the tow as well. This has gone from a 3-car battle. We're about to make it 6. Black Bob Wallace is also trying to make his way in the group. You can see a little bit further back. He's trying to catch up as well. This has been a stellar opening race tonight. We're only 8 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen. And it has been an epic race already. Squilliam and Nodovan side by side once again. Nodovan's going to have to back out. He's going to try and get the run though. There's a little bit of an off track it looks like. Poor Squilliam, a lot of bouncing in these cars. Very hard suspension. Made for the track, not made for the curbs. And here comes Nodovan. Oh, here comes Beaver as well. 3 wide over the start-finish line. Nodovan's got the lead, but who's going to take it 3 wide into turn 1? This could be disastrous, but it ends up working absolutely beautifully for our viewing pleasure. Nodovan, I almost thought he was going to take both of them for a second after backing out a little bit earlier, but no, unable to do so. Beaver almost gets in the back bumper of Squilliam. A little bit of a lockup from Nodovan as well. He's got all the runoff on the outside line. It's not going to be enough. He's still side by side with Squilliam. This is unbelievable racing right now that we are witnessing. Squilliam and Nodovan still side by side, and you can see that they are desperately fighting for that #1 spot. Daytona providing a great epic right now as Nodovan takes advantage, and he's going to be ahead of Squilliam after that little bit of a loose moment from the back end of that machine. Beaver's going to take advantage as well. And it looks like a little bit of a flashy flash from Squilliam, and Eat My Dust is going to try and close that gap and not allow Squilliam to come back to the inside line. Is he going to be able to do so? No, because Beaver's going to try the outside of Nodovan now. What is happening? Now it's going to be the inside though. As we head towards the bus stop, who's going to take advantage? Both leave each other plenty of room, a little bit closer than I'd like to see, but everyone gets through it without a problem. Nodovan still holds on to the lead. Beaver's got a long, slow way around. Squilliam is going to be very unhappy that he is boxed in where he is at the moment. This is absolutely crazy. Look at that, a little bit of a draft pack happening with Eat My Dust onto the back bumper of Beaver, pushing him to the front. An absolutely momentous shove with AJ helping as well. And Beaver's going to take over the lead. Look at this as we go 6 cars for the lead. And Beaver goes for a little bit of a lockup. Nodovan takes advantage back to the front. Here comes Squilliam once again. What is happening? As this is unbelievable racing right now. Nodovan still in the lead, hanging on as Beaver could not get the power down out of the corner. Eat My Dust has taken over third from Squilliam. Tyler Book saying he couldn't make it tonight, and I tell you what, that is okay. If you can make the race and watch it with us, you're going to be in for an epic anyway, because this is absolutely amazing racing. Squilliam takes the spot back from Eatmodust, so he's going to make his way back up into the 3rd position. By the way, Eatmodust taking home the top lap so far. Fastest lap with a 141.9. We've only ever seen that in the practice sessions, not yet by any other driver. So Eatmodust definitely showing that he has the pace. As the cars separate for the first time, we go single file in about 3 laps here at Daytona International Speedway. Allowing me some reprieve to catch my breath back, and it looks like the front two are going to stay where they are, but Squilliam and Eatmodust were very, very close together. Speaking of, Donovan taking a much wider line than Beaver, locks it up a little bit as well, but it looks like everyone gets through cleanly without a problem. And this is about as epic a show as I could put it to you to get a wriggle on and watch. Biker Pilot is out, back on track, and has been for a little while now. Nice to see him not giving up straight away and continuing on, as that is always something we very, very much like to see. Now, while everything has sorted out just a wee bit with the front pack, as we say that, Squilliam right on the back bumper of Beaver once again. These two really not wanting to battle too hard though, as they might lose the draft that Nodovan is providing for them out front. So they're going to have to be cautious and maybe work together just a wee bit to try and catch back up to that front runner. See as they continue to unfold with this one, and yes, there's no pass or attempted pass as of yet. And as we were going to say, we were going to look back at Black Bob Wallace, because he was starting to catch up slowly but surely to AJ as well. And as far as Black Bob Wallace is concerned, he is desperate to see them battle like they did just before, as he wants to use any momentum possible to catch back up to the leaders. Daytona's so hard to make round up on people in front, especially when they're drafting off of one another. Squilliam with a massive dive to the outside line. He gets left enough room by Nodovan and Nick Beaver. A little bit of a touch between Squilliam and Beaver. Not enough room left, it looked like, by Beaver there. Squilliam probably not super happy with it, but it's okay. Everyone gets away cleanly, and no positions lost or gained due to that contact. Squilliam and Beaver side by side once again. Eatmodust is just there looking on. Going to try and take advantage of the car on the inside, but Squilliam doesn't have a good enough run, or maybe he does now, because Beaver had a little bit of a shimmy and somehow keeps it underneath him. No idea how he was managing to do that. Just over 5 minutes to go in race 1. This has been a fabled epic in the shadows of Alexander the Great. And this is looking absolutely phenomenal, as Beaver's still getting pushed by Squilliam. Again, these two drivers are really going to want to try and push each other, especially down the straightaway, to catch back up to Nodovan, who has gained himself a 1.2 second gap over the drivers behind. And I apologize, let's see if we can get that up. There we go, should have done that a long time ago. Apologies for that one, and it's getting a little bit dicey. Squilliam uses the advantage, the push from Eatmodust, who was trying to use it on him, and makes his way through past both of them. And there you go. Up into the second position, Beaver in third. Urko's going to see if he can get involved in this one. But Eatmodust retains the position for the moment, not too much further back. Just still in right behind, we caught it live. What just happened there? A massive smack to the wall. That was Nick Johnson. And he is down and out. So we're going to have to go back on that one. Just clipping that inside wall way too much. Just a tiny bit. And wants to just get out of everyone's way. And unfortunately shatters into 1,000 itty bits. As we go back live, Nodovan still heading up the lead of the pack, but the lead is going down a little bit at a time. The question will definitely be whether he is able to hold on to it for the next 3 minutes is all he needs. That's another 2 laps. Maybe 3 depending on where he is when they cross the line, but I believe it's going to be 2 laps. It's definitely going to be this and the next as we've just passed the start-finish line, and here comes Eat My Dust to the back of Beaver. Now Eat My Dust has been doing a great job so far of pushing everyone to the front. Squilliam goes for a little bit of dirt bike action. Able to hold it underneath him. But let's get that one queued up. See what happened from the inside of the car. Excuse me, that is the wrong footage. Here we go. Just gets on the power a little bit too early. And look at the amount of work that he had to do in that machine to keep it pointed in the right direction. Flicking the wheel back left and right, able to keep it together. Great job from Squilliam. And still in the second place position, it must be said. Now Squilliam looking like the fan favourite out tonight, trying to do the fans proud. Nodovan has absolutely gapped the rest of the field right now. Squilliam having a little bit of internet issues, going for a little bit of a blink. Thankfully, nothing too serious as of yet. We're going to have one more lap to go. It's going to be the final lap. What is going to happen? Will Eat My Dust be able to catch to the back bumper and make a move on Nick Beaver? Will Beaver catch up back to Squilliam? Will AJ catch Urko? Will Garlic Dog catch Albanese? There is so much going on. And Beaver's going to try and take a lunge to the outside of Squilliam. See how it goes. Squilliam does not allow him any kind of room to make it happen. Go back a little bit further because AJ, Black Bob, and Urko are invested in their own fight for 5th. Not too far behind the leaders. As the lights are coming on because it is getting darker and darker as the time wears out. Daytona leaving itself to some epic finishes over the years. Absolutely incredible stuff. And I believe this race will not be any exception. As we look back up to the leaders, they've caught up to the back of Nodovan. They're going to be in the draft. Squilliam is at least, and we'll see how that one plays out as they come to the bus stop for the final time. Speaking of time, it has just expired, so we are guaranteed to end the race by the time we come to the checkered flag. This will be the final bus stop. It all depends on the speed coming out of here. And Squilliam's done an amazing job getting as much of a run as possible. Nodovan a little bit slower than he'd probably like to see. Not sure if it's going to be enough for Squilliam. He's going to try to dig and claw. You can see him closing up, gaining, and gaining. But I don't think it's going to be enough. And no, it's not. Nodovan for the win. Squilliam second. Beaver third. Eat My Dust fourth. AJ and Urko with an insane finish with Wallace not too far behind as well. Might have to have a look at that finish once again if we can. So we'll fast forward this a little bit. See if we can get back to the finish because it looked like a pretty incredible one. Currently watching AJ, and there's Urko just ahead. AJ pip him at the line? No, unable to do so. Or was that the lap before? No, I think that was the lap previous. Alright. We'll go back to live anyway, and it looks like AJ did actually pip Urko at the line. Look at that. 0.023. Surely we have to get a replay of that one. It has to happen. So we're going to have to a quick one of these. And see if we can have a look. Here we go. That's still the lap previous. I'm not sure why we're so focused on that one. See if we can quickly speed this one up. And hopefully catch it. No, we can't before the time runs out. I do apologize. That is unfortunate, but we will bring the drivers up into the waiting room as they are currently waiting for some amazingness. And I believe Beaver was in third position, so we'll get Beaver up here first. Beaver, you were in third, right? And I haven't gone crazy?
Oh, I think I lost you there. Say again?
I said you were in third, right? And I am not going crazy because...
Ah, yes, you are not going crazy. Yep, I got third.
All right.
Boy, what a fun race, right?
Oh, that was incredible. I almost lost my breath multiple times. That was insane. You guys did an absolutely amazing job, and you kept it clean for the most part. I believe you and Squilliam had a small niggle at one point or another between the two of you, but otherwise, I mean, it was very minor, and you just kept racing, and it was absolutely incredible. Give us your opinions on it, really.
Yeah, overall, an awesome race, super fun, a little bit of argy-bargy, never hurt a guy. I think, yeah, tight racing, especially in a car like this, that's a lot of fun. Hats off to Nodovan and Squilliam for the other two podium positions. They raced so clean, and Eat My Dust too. He was right there with us, so really a fun group of guys to race with. That was just a ton of fun,
Oh, absolutely. Just let us know quickly. Were you scared when you saw those pack of about 3 cars coming up behind? You know, AJ, Urko was there. Black Bob Wallace was a little bit further behind, but also coming. As you said, Eat My Dust. Were they definitely on your mind as you guys kept battling up front?
Yeah, definitely. And I felt like the lead was a place I wanted to be in, so I wanted to battle for that lead. And of course, battling is going to bring those guys a lot closer. Yeah, and they the fellas that finished behind us, they have a ton of pace too. So I mean, I was almost inviting it. I thought it would have been a ton of fun to have like a 7-8 car group of cars. But you know, in this next race, we've got an invert, and I think that might just be the case.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to see how the invert works because it should be a good one. And I'm very much looking forward to it. Now, we will let you go because we got some other people we need to talk to. But before you do, Beaver, who would you like to shout out for the third place tonight? And we'll see if you can improve on it or maybe get the same in the upcoming race.
Yeah, well, thank you, Gareth, for putting on the broadcast. It's always fun to go back and watch this. Hannah might be watching, so hello. And then I'm going to shout out to my teammate, Captain CK, for leaving a vacant seat on the love seat. So, so hey, everyone, thanks for watching, audience. It's going to be a fun race too, I think.
All right, sounds good, Beaver. We look forward to seeing you there.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Too. All right, that was Beaver in third. Next up, Squilliam. We're going to have to take it a little bit quicker with the next two because I do find myself talking a bit too much. But Squilliam, welcome to the broadcast booth. You're the number one in the fans' eyes. How are you doing out there? What would it felt like?
Oh man, that was wild to say the least. That was very fun. I mean, it just people bump drafting and just trying to stay in the draft at the end there, trying to work hard to catch Nodovan. That was a very fun but challenging race for sure.
It looked absolutely amazing. Best spectator sport is racing. I will say this over and over again because of stuff like that. It was absolutely incredible. You guys put on an amazing show. As Beaver said, a little bit of argy-bargy between you two, but I mean, that's as what happens when you're a little bit close together and racing as much as you can.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. I think Rubbin's racing, so just try to keep my elbows out there. It's really hard to make passes into turn one on the outside like he was doing, and so I was just trying to defend as hard as I could on the inside, and but I was just really struggling in that second horseshoe and just couldn't get the car gripped up there, and I ended up getting eaten alive a couple times. But yeah, banging doors was fun. Glad nobody got put into the grass because of it, at least.
Speaking of put into the grass, you found yourself out in the grass. Was there a little bit of panic from you during that off-track excursion? Bit of rallying coming into play?
I mean, I was a little more worried about the damage on the car that I might get, but I wasn't. I did that in practice as well. Just getting on the throttle a little too early, and the car just wants to go wide. Just pushing hard to stay with Notivin. So I was kind of prepared for it. Just crept out of the throttle a little bit. The new grass physics are definitely a lot more rewarding than they used to be. So it's a lot easier to keep control of the car in those kinds of scenarios. Luckily.
All right. Well, we look forward to you doing just as well, if not better, in the 40-minute race to come. We'll let you go, but before we do, any shout outs quickly, friends, family, sponsors, the floor is yours for tonight's second place for the first race of the night.
As always, I got to shout out my boys and girls in the Chum Bucket Discord server. You know who you are, always coming out and supporting. So props to them for coming and watching again, as always.
All right, sounds good, Squilliam. We'll leave to your own devices. Get ready for the next race and have a good one. We'll see you up here again, I'm sure.
Thanks, man.
All right, that was Squilliam. Bring it home in second. Up next, Notivan, the man of the moment. Notivan, how are you feeling? That was an incredible race, and you must be pretty happy you found yourself out front by about a second for the last couple of laps with just enough of a buffer to keep Squilliam behind you at the end there.
Yeah, it's really tricky. I was pretty lucky because I guess he got to slow down on the second lap, but if he didn't, it would have been a lot closer than what it was.
I tell you what, it was absolutely phenomenal racing from all three of you guys, and it must be said, a great drive from you as well. We saw that you were one of the fastest people in the last practice. You had the fastest lap, I believe, in the race as well. I might be corrected on that, but it looked like an incredible race all around and managed to get yourself in the right place at the right time. And like you said, he might have had a slowdown, but that's his fault, not yours.
Yeah, it felt pretty nice once I got the pass done because it's really hard to pass here, especially when you have like 4 other cars behind you pushing the car beside you. It's like, come on, stop pushing him, damn it.
Yeah, well, all right. I will say just quickly as well that I did get a little bit of an insight from Beaver as well, but I'll get an insight from you, Nodovan, also. When you saw that the three of you were having such a great battle, did you see in the rearview mirror, and did it scare you to see another 3, 4 cars coming up and getting probably a lot closer than you would have wanted?
Yeah, I saw that. It happened really before we started going 3 wide and all that craziness. I know AJ, he was pushing Beaver at one point, I think, going into T1, and that was when he was trying to pass me. But yeah, it's not very like yeah, you want to try to get ahead of the guys, but you also need to look behind you and make sure that the guys behind don't catch up too much.
Absolutely. We did a fantastic job of that in that race. So, just quickly before we let you go and have a very small break, apologies for the long interviews at the moment. But yeah, not even anyone you'd like to shout out, friends, family, sponsors, before we give you at least a minute of a break before we go back racing.
I'd like to thank all the guys we're racing with. They all raced pretty clean. I don't think we had any major contact. A couple of bangs here and there, but that's all fun in racing. So
All right, sounds good. Well, Nodovan, we will catch you later, and good luck in the next race. Hope to see you up here again.
yeah, I hope to be back.
All right, sounds good. Now that was Nodovan bringing it home in the top spot for race 1 of the night. Don't go anywhere. In just about a minute's time, we will bring you an 8-car inverted grid for the second race. A little bit longer, 40 minutes of tonight's event. Should be a good one. Stick around.
Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Up now as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Let's go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the 1-on-1 up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, just insane.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Oklahoma International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Righty, we are back once again, getting ready for race number 2 of tonight's racing series, the Just Two Idiots Cup Series Sprint Series. As we get ready once again, look at the temperature drop down to 60 degrees Fahrenheit on the track. It's going to be very, very cold out there as we are just about hitting midnight local time in Sim. And it is looking very, very nice out there. Nice with the lights. And we are looking forward to it as we get the lowdown on the inverted grid. Just Dylan taking full advantage, and he's going to be starting up in the first position along with Black Bob Wallace, who showed a lot of potential. Unfortunately, didn't find himself a drafting partner towards the end of that race. So we'll see what he can put underneath his machine and see how fast his right pedal actually goes down to the floor. Urko in the third position alongside with AJ. Again, 2 drivers who just needed a tiny bit of drafting help. Should be looking good. Eat My Dust getting a little bit, let's say, a little bit keen on the line there in the 5th position. Nick Beaver alongside him in 6th with Squilliam and Nodovan in 7th and 8th. Paperbag, Bozak in the 9th and 10th positions with Bar South and Garlic Dog in 11th and 12th. Cycling the grid on back a little bit. Joe Albanese in the 13th position with Biker Pilot, the only other Canadian alongside Nodovan, in the 14th position. Nicolator in 15th. And Nick Johnson with a very unfortunate smacking of the pit lane exit wall. Try and improve this time by in the 16th position. As I say that, it doesn't look like Nick Johnson has made his way out, and Joe Albanese is going to be starting from pit lane. So we will see how this one works its way out as the race goes on. But we're ready for 40 minutes of midnight racing action here at Daytona International Speedway. The pace car has come down the track, down the left-hand turn, and no wasting time. Just Dylan out to the lead straight away. Just Dylan out to the front. Back Bob Wallace alongside. There's going to be quite a few drivers with quite a bit of pace coming through, and there's a little bit of an incident. I say a little bit of a lot of an incident, as Just Dylan is looking like he is missing a front end. Cue that one up straight away. And just a bit of calamity there. So we will try and slow this one down just a bit. Get a different perspective on it. As let's go for the chopper. Nice. A little bit of a view on this one. As Dylan just got, absolutely crunches the tires. little bit too far to the inside, and the pile-up just keep on coming. My dominoes are falling off the table as we speak. And unfortunate for a lot of those drivers coming through, some of them getting tangled up in that one. But we're still out here racing. Dylan Johnson out of the race. Albanese is 1 lap down, but he is still making his way around the track. I say 1 lap, I believe he may have started from pit road, so he should hopefully be on the same lap once everything is sorted. Urko right at the back bumper behind AJ, fighting for the 2nd position. And not sure he's going to be able to do it as AJ holds on to that spot. Beaver side by side with Paper Bag, able to make that pass stick. Donovan, Squilliam and Beaver once again in a line in their finishing order in 4th, 5th and 6th currently. Oh, and as I say that, Donovan gets a little bit loose and has to control the car. Squilliam takes advantage. He's going to be on the inside heading into the 2nd horseshoe. That's going to be so difficult for Donovan to take that back out of the horseshoe, and he's unable to do that. As you can see, the lights are on, which is the only reason we can see the cars at all. Great lighting here at Daytona. Many night races being held. Of course, the Rolex 24 being held every single year. One of the hallmarks of the racing world. That is for sure, as it looks like Bar South and Paper Bag, the 2 teammates, are going to be in 7th and 8th, very, very close together. Lighting up the wall and the drivers in front. And look at this, AJ underneath Black Bob Wallace for the lead. AJ's going to take it over. But Black Bob's going to have the advantage as he has a little bit of draft. It's not going to be enough though. Should have stayed a little bit further behind. But there wasn't much room to work with, so I can understand where he's coming from. He's going to try something on the outside. Speaking of the outside, what did we just witness? Squilliam. All the drivers were talking about how hard it was to pass on the outside of turn 1. And he just made it look effortless, as he's gone all the way to the front of the field, taking, what, 3, 4 passes with him? There you go, from 4th position up to 1st from the start line. That is absolutely incredible in one turn, taking almost 3 cars, finally getting the job done into turn 2. And that 1st horseshoe, so unbelievable pass by Squilliam. And they're still fanning out a little bit further back. Donovan trying to make a move on Urko, manages to do it. Beaver takes advantage and follows him through on the inside. Just 2 drivers making it work as they try to make their way back up through the field, but Squilliam finds himself out front and trying to run away with it. As you'll see, some of these drivers, like what you saw Urko do just then into the bus stop, they will want to be a little bit out, not using the draft, because they want to be able to. It's a couple of reasons. Number one is that they don't want to be in the draft. There's a little bit more speed being carried, and sometimes you can really miss your braking point, which leads into number 2, seeing where your braking marker actually is before the corner can be very difficult when you're right up against the back bumper of the driver in front. Beaver gets a nice lunge onto the inside of Donovan and makes that one work. And what was that, as AJ goes to the inside and pulls a Squilliam? And that is probably going to cause the slowdown that we heard was caused. Was what Squilliam ascertained last race. And we'll have to see if that is indeed a slowdown, and if it is, when and how AJ is going to serve it. without trying to get involved in anything too dangerous with these other cars out here tonight. He's not going to want to give up positions if he can avoid it, though. I mean, I'm not sure he has a slowdown. I'm only assuming. Doesn't look like he is taking any kind of action to get rid of that slowdown. So he may not have one. I would have expected the iRacing gods to give him one, but I have been proven wrong quite a few times in the past. Blackwell Wallace still sitting in third with Beaver and Nodovan rounding out the top 5. Eat My Dust back in the 9th position, making his way on the high side, the long way around Paper Bag. And making it work almost. Still going to be side by side. And who's going to get the better of who? And there's the inside wall once again. The tyres taking no prisoners. And there goes Paper Bag. And he is missing a front end entirely. One of those wheels has stopped working altogether. That left front not doing anything, and he's not going to be able to turn. He might be done and out for this race. That was brutal. Take a quick look once again. Amazing that it doesn't actually show up as an actual accident on our timing software. So we have to do a little bit of a craziness. And as I say that, I completely press the wrong thing, and I apologize for that. But yeah, he's going to have no turning whatsoever. Try and get that one actually sorted out for you now. And maybe even get a gyro cam going just to show you what it's like when these drivers have that impact. And I can tell you it's not pretty. As this is from Paper Bag's view. Bang. Gets the middle point of the wheel from what it looked like. Just smacks straight into those barriers. Incredibly unforgiving. That's something these drivers are definitely going to have to watch out, especially when they try and leave room for 2 and 3 wide action. Beaver around the outside of Black Bob. Just manages to stick with it. So Black Bob falling back just a little ways. Here comes Nodovan as well, trying to take advantage. And manages to do so. Now this is the moment Black Bob Wallace has got to say, all right, no pressure, no immediate pressure from behind. Urko's a little bit further back. So this is where Black Bob says, right, I just got to keep in these guys' toes, see where they're going, maybe try and find a line that works for me, and make it stick. See if he can keep with these leaders. Paper Bag is down pit road, and unsurprisingly so, as he has to get the front of his car put back on his machine. There has been so much to talk about here at Daytona Motor Speedway, and it doesn't end at all. These 4 drivers, 5 as well. Black Bob Wallace still hanging on. These 5 drivers all doing a phenomenal job of staying in tow with one another. Unfortunately, Urko dropping back just outside the toe of Black Bob. Or I should say Wallace, so that you know who I'm talking about, as it only shows Wallace on the left-hand side of your screen. Also see the graphic there of where they are on track on the bottom right-hand side, and Beaver goes to the outside of AJ, outside of Squilliam even. Is he going to make it stick? Little bit of argy-bargy once again between the two of them, and Squilliam manages to hold on to that position. AJ takes advantage of that little bit of contact. Beaver's not going to give it to him too easy. They're still going to be driving side by side as they head towards the left-hand kink. No, Beaver's going to have to relinquish that position to AJ, trying to send it once again, though, to second horseshoe. And it is going to work, maybe a little bit late on the brakes, not heavy enough from AJ. And it just to keep in front of Beaver just barely, as they're still side by side. And it's absolutely incredible racing once again. Here comes Nodovan to throw his hat in the ring. And there he goes underneath Beaver and takes that spot away. Beaver goes right back into the toe. Nodovan to the outside. Is Beaver going to push him through? No, just staying back a little bit further. Nodovan takes over that spot from AJ. And Beaver gets a fantastic run out of the banking. He's going to want to push AJ on the back bumper. If you go out there at the top, it's very, very hard to pass on the top end. That banking not doing you any favors, slowing you down on that high side of line. And look at them, 3 cars in a line. Just like a caterpillar, they turn with many more wheels than just 2, as you've got 6-wheel drive. And it looks like it's only gonna Nodovan that stays out in front. Beaver was able to get around AJ. And Wallace is not too far behind them either. Once again, thank you very, very much for joining us in chat for the Just 2 Idiots Cup Series Sprint Series. And we'd like to thank once again as well Rising Peaks Coffee for sponsoring tonight's event, as well as every race we have in the Just 2 Idiots Cup Series Sprint Series. Drivers are a very big fan of their nicknames, but also a very big fan of having a lot of fun out on track. I said a very big fan, I mean very big fans. All of these drivers are really willing to take new races under their wing, giving them a few pointers, help them out, and see where their careers head. I can say that from personal experience. All it takes is a little bit of coverage from you. Once you join them, don't be afraid to join one of the teams in their team channel. And more often than not, as I should say always, these drivers have been extremely accommodating and very, very friendly. As Nodovan still holds on to the second place spot. I believe Beaver was trying to push him to get him closer to Squilliam, as they're going to have to really reel Squilliam in, because he is on an absolute tear out front by himself. And speaking of someone who is on a tear, look at Biker Pilot up 5 spots from where he started, as well as Nicolator. Both doing a phenomenal job right now. Albanese not too far behind Nicolator either. And Bozak trying to work his way up. Teammates of Nodovan. So they are trying desperately to catch back up as well. When I say teammates of Nodovan and Bozak, they are going to be racing. Let's see if I can get this one sorted. Yep, so they are racing with night racing. Feel like I knew that better than what it sounds like I did. It sounds like I forgot. And that is the unfortunate reality of having a small brain such as mine. As Nodovan and AJ both set their fastest laps of the race. Nodovan setting the fastest lap that we have seen out of him at all. Equal, it should say, on pace as Nick Beaver's fastest lap, but the fastest lap of the race so far has to go to Squilliam. with a 1:41.76, which is a full tenth faster than both Nodovan and Beaver have managed just behind. But it looks like the draft is definitely playing into their favor, as Nodovan was 1.4 seconds behind Squilliam, but is now catching up slowly but surely. Now, as Nick Beaver said, he's currently leading the driver standings. In second place in the team standings, though, as Captain CK is unfortunately a bit of a no-show in the past couple of races. Currently leading the team standings are Speed Squad with Simply Steve and Eat My Dust. Simply Steve not showing up tonight either, and Eat My Dust currently sitting in the 7th position. So that could definitely change hands back in the way of Love Seat, as they are quite close together. Yeah, less than 10 points separating the two teams. About 8 points between the two of them. So Beaver could definitely be lifting his team solo style. And Nodovan sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:41.62 without any draft. It has to be said, so he is absolutely flying right now. In order to catch up to Squilliam as quickly as possible, we've got just over 20 minutes left still. Just over halfway in the race to go. They are catching up big time. They're closing the gap now as well, as AJ not too far behind either, but maybe just barely out of the draft. He's trying desperately to stay in Beaver's draft, but Beaver has drafting help from Nodovan ahead, and it's going to be stronger than what AJ can manage. I believe he is falling away in that 4th position just ever so slightly. So not the epic battle we were seeing from race 1 thus far, but that could change in just another lap, as Nodovan and Beaver very much closing in on Squilliam for the lead. Bozak and Biker Pilot in the 7th and 8th position, also not too far away from one another, and Urko comes for a pit stop. Urko, the first one in. Now, it should be said, and I should have apologize for this oversight on my behalf, but the pit window was expected to be 23 to 27 minutes. And at around lap 13 and 14, so Urko coming in early, trying to get his spot done and out of the way. His pit stop done, sorry, out of the way early. And we'll see if that is beneficial or hurts him in the long run. Usually say that pitting early is very helpful, but definitely at Daytona, it's more the draft that's going to help you than anything else. And that is where the question comes in. But if Urko had no one that he was really paired with at the time of coming into pit, it might be the smart idea to do what he's done. And look no further than the lead, because Nodovan right on the back bumper of Squilliam now. They have closed up. And Beaver's going to close up as well. We go a little bit further back, because look at that. Biker Pilot and Bozak are also closing up together. All of a sudden, we go from not too many battles, but people catching each other very slowly, to outright wars on the field. Say on the field, on the track, as we are completely out of our depth in the excitement that we are feeling. Black Bob Wallace down pit road, William, Nodovan and Beaver all still going at it. One more lap. They must be getting close to the end of their tanks. Now, especially prevalent at Daytona, excuse me, is the fact that Squilliam has been leading for so long, and without any drafting help, that he might be pushing fumes by the time he comes down pit road. Garlic Dog makes the pass on Black Bolt Wallace as he is still sitting in pit road, just making his way out now. Urko, who came down pit road first, I believe, is still going to be behind Black Bolt when he makes his way out. So the two retaining their positions against each other. As Squilliam very heavy on the defense, and who can blame him? As they go into the bus stop, Beaver is right on the back of Nodovan once again as well. And AJ is not too far behind these guys. He's trying to get himself involved. They come down to pit road this time. It doesn't look like it. Oh, and there's the difference. Beaver deciding he wants to hop out, try something different, and see what can happen. Down at pit lane goes Nick Beaver. Not the choice that I would have made personally, as I feel like it would have been smarter to stay with the draft, but maybe couldn't have made it all the way without pitting another lap. So that is why coming down a little bit beforehand. Biker Pilot and Bozak side by side now. We've been watching for the past few seconds, and again, Bozak smacking that inside wall. Again, that inside wall comes into play. Nicolator going to take advantage and take that 5th spot away. So we've seen this time and time again, and yes, it looks like he may have lost steering on that left side. And there goes the hood, and there goes the car. Bozak, absolutely unfortunate what happened to him there. And once again, that inside wall just not paying any favors to any of these drivers, especially when they go too wide. It just seems to be the case that it just collects these drivers in its clutches and doesn't let them go. Oh, looks like he actually caught the left rear and not the left front, which, it must be said, that's pretty crazy. I think when a car turns left, it would be more likely to catch the left front, but it was the left rear that time by both these drivers. Surely, no, just Squilliam, not even somehow deciding to stay out one more lap. He's going to have to hope he can make it all that way. Otherwise, he has given up a free top, maybe even top 5 spots. As Biker Pilot, Squilliam, and AJ have all come down pit road and getting service done. Squilliam has just made his way out. AJ follows along. Where is Beaver? There he is. Going to take over the place from AJ. Where is Squilliam? Just in front. He's going to take over Squilliam as well. So Beaver up ahead of both of those drivers with that slightly earlier pit stop. And that makes me wonder what is going to happen with Nodovan. As Nodovan is going to stay out one more lap and may have to fuel save a little bit, causing him to lose some ground on the drivers behind, plus the pit stop. And I'm not sure it looks all that great for him, but we'll see how it goes. Our winner of race 1 tonight. Chuck a pit strategy into the mix of an already epic race event. You get a lot of drivers deciding different things to do, and it really divvies up the pack as Nodovan makes his way in. He couldn't have lasted any more than that down to lap 15. Absolutely incredible that he was able to stay out for that long. And it's like, I think I might have heard him sputtering just a tad as he was just about to head into his pit stall. But Nick Beaver will probably take over the race lead. I can't imagine Donovan will beat him out of pit road. Oh, I may have spoken too soon. Here comes Donovan. There's Nick Beaver making his way down. Is it going to be enough? There's Donovan getting up to speed. Donovan's going to stay in front. Incredible. I did not see that one coming, but Donovan's made it happen. What a strategy call from Donovan. Absolutely amazing stuff. As Beaver has got it all to do, and so does Squilliam in the third position. These three drivers, Donovan still retaining the first that he won in race one, but Beaver and Squilliam at the moment have switched positions for second and third. This is absolutely incredible. Beaver getting a great run out of the bus stop. We're having a look from the back of Donovan's machine. Here comes Beaver with a full head of steam. Oh, actually pushing the back bumper there of Donovan, rather than making a move on the outside, and that might have been the play all along as Donovan goes for a little bit of an excursion to the outside. Squilliam's going to try and take advantage. Maybe a slight contact between those two as well. Thankfully, nothing too untoward doing between the two of them though, and Squilliam's going to have to hold on to that third place for the moment. On board with Squilliam now, and this is just incredible driving from these three drivers. This is what we want to see, and we are seeing plenty of it. As Beaver's going to try his best to run away from these two behind. Jeez, every time I see that banking, I don't know about you in the spectator area, but it absolutely feels gut-wrenching when you see the amount of angle that these LMP3 machines can get on that banking. And they're on the low side, not even up the top. Absolutely crazy. You can see, I'm not sure if you can see it on his, oh jeez. I was going to say, I'm not sure if you can see the rev limiter on the wheel, but Squilliam really using as many revs as possible to get that machine moving. He has been losing the draft to Donovan up ahead. Going to have to really work hard to reel those two back in. Donovan now in the second position has been closing the gap to Beaver up in front. We have just 10 minutes to go in this event. So that is not that long when you consider that's probably about 5 laps left. Maybe 6. Depending on how long it will take to get around the circuit. I believe Squilliam has just fallen a slight bit further too far back. Apologies for the Squid fans out there. It looks like Squilliam may have fallen out of this one. Of course, they always say don't celebrate or speak too soon, as things may happen that you don't know. It could be that Nonovan and Beaver have a very big battle. Squilliam catches up on pace alone. It could be the two of them get involved in a tussle and Squilliam can just drive on by. Never know what can unfold. Someone making a pity mistake. And it could be all or nothing. As it looks like Nicolator is closing up to the back bumper of Biker Pilot as well. In the 9th position, looking for 8th. Donovan setting his personal best time right there behind Viva. 141.39. Not quite as good as AJ's 141.34, but not far off of it. As these two are going at it now. Donovan definitely within striking distance. Are they going to try and stay in each other's toe to make sure Squilliam is not involved in this race? Or is Donovan going to try and go for a position as soon as possible? Time will tell. As Nicolator, it looked like, had a bit of a spin. He was closing up to the back bumper of Biker Pilot. And then something happened. Take just the quickest look, and unfortunately it's not coming up on the timing software, so we'll have to do it the old manual way. And yeah, just a self-spin, and oh my, I've done it again. Pressing wrong buttons up here in the booth is what we do. As it looks like, I apologize, as it looks like Beaver and Nodovan will try and get back to it once again and see if we can grab the footage. But for now, we wanted to see if Nodovan was going to be able to make a pass into turn 1, and it does not look like it. So we'll try that once again with Nicolator, as he was closing the gap at the old-fashioned way. Round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows except for the second horseshoe. Second horseshoe knows. And that wouldn't be the right lap, would it? Why must things treat me like this? As the guy in the booth is trying his best to not look like a bit of a fool on stream, but it looks like it's not going to happen. As we'll ignore that one. The main thing is that he had a bit of a self-spin and so fell back. Nicolator, that is, from Biker Pilot, so allowing a little bit more breathing room. Garlic Dog just sets his fastest lap of the race. As we check back in with the leaders, because we do not want to miss any moment of the action. Paper Bag is down pit road. As Nodovan is 0.2 of a second behind Beaver and closing. I love to see the gain. Excuse me. There it is. That's a little bit too close, isn't it? As we get the gyro of Nodovan, probably a smarter one as we try and regain some composure up here in the booth. Nodovan all over the back bumper of Beaver, but doesn't want to lead the race. And I almost wonder, I have to wonder if Beaver is really leading the way, and the reason why Nodovan is not making a move to the front, I have to wonder if it's because he deliberately fueled the car a little bit less than needed to make it to the end, which is why he came out in front of Beaver, remember. And I have to wonder if the reason for that is because he knew he was going to come out later, so he wanted to get out in front of Beaver or Squilliam, let them past, and use the draft to save some fuel while behind those two drivers, and then maybe make a dash to the end. And that seems to be a very valid strategy, if you ask me. So I can't help but wonder if that's what he's going for. And don't look now, but AJ and Squilliam are looking like they're going to be tangled in a bit of a battle. Squilliam falling back a little bit. AJ keeping the hammer down. And that is a really nice view of what it looks like at night here at Daytona Motor Speedway. Or International Speedway, as I should say. And Garlic Dog is coming out of exit at this present time. In the 11th position. Donovan and Beaver maybe exchanging hands for position for the lead. Donovan around the outside, so difficult. We've heard so many drivers say the same. Not able to do it. Squilliam holds on in front of AJ as well. Wallace sets his fastest time. Urko sets his fastest time. Drivers setting fast times over and over. Beaver still trying to hold off Donovan as the camera keeps on jumping around, and I apologize for that. There's so much to look at right now. Eat My Dust is even closing up to the back of Urko, who is in turn not too far behind Wallace as well. So there's a lot to look at and keep an eye on. As Squilliam has managed to get away from AJ just a bit, but AJ's going to use the draft to come back, but we're still looking at Beaver and Donovan for the race lead. Donovan stays behind once again, so I really think that he might be doing that strategy. We'll ask him in the interview after the race is over. If he makes it that far, it's going to be really interesting. As he opens up a little bit of a gap, does Beaver. And that's the problem with doing what Donovan is doing. You can see now, if you're doing a test of the final bit of the race out of the bus stop, and it would have been Beaver just by the slimmest of margins had that been the final lap. And the checkered flag had been out, so it would have been very close. And a little bit further back, as we were saying, for the 7th position, here comes Eat My Dust with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:41.196. That is blisteringly fast. That's a full almost 9/10 faster than what any other lap time we were seeing in any practice leading up to tonight's event. And he is absolutely on a tear. Nicolator's catching up to Biker Pilot as well. Speaking of, Nicolator's just made the move on Biker Pilot for the 8th place position. Near the front though, it's getting very close. Beaver and Donovan once again. There's going to be one. Oh, is this going to be the final lap? It very well may do. As looking at the time is going to be very close to see if we have an extra lap or not. I think this might be the final lap. All of a sudden, we've got a whole lot more exciting. As it looks like Beaver might have the victory if we keep it this way. Donovan is closing in. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, but he's going to try and make it enough. Are they going to be able to go one more lap? I believe they will now, looking at it once again. And yes, we will have one more lap. Absolutely incredible stuff. So Donovan and Beaver both setting their own fastest times, but still not as fast as Eat My Dust in the 7th position. Currently, he's about to make a pass on Urko. Oh, Urko holds on to the inside line, and they're both catching up to Wallace just in front. And Eat My Dust sends it to the inside line. Urko gets forced out wide. And Eat My Dust takes over the position for the 6th place spot. Further up the field, AJ and Squilliam still having their own battle as well. The 3rd and 4th spots Battle for the lead continues though, and there's some lap traffic just ahead. We're gonna have to see what kind of play that has on these leaders. And I believe that is Paper Bag, not too far in front of him. Nodovan to the outside, which will be the inside. Not able to do it. Sticking right on the back bumper. There's a little bit of contact. Neither driver giving an inch and staying right in tow. They're coming down to the line. Nodovan be able to make this pass. It's going to be very, very close indeed. Beaver's going to try and keep to the inside line, make it as long as possible. There's a little bit of a touch. There's another touch. Forcing out wide. Both of them touching once again. Who won it? I don't know. We're showing Nodovan. And we're showing Squilliam made it into third as well. 2 thousandths of a second between the leaders. 5 thousandths of a second for third. What have we witnessed in 2 races? It is unbelievable stuff. Gonna have to take a look at that finish once again, because that was absolutely incredible between these 2 leaders. Look at that little bit of touch, little bit of rub, and not even just, oh, gee. And then you go back to third, and it was much the same. Oh, how? How have this absolutely incredible scenes? Oh, I cannot begin to describe the euphoria that must be rushing through these drivers. And we've got 4 people in the interview room. I'm sure there's congratulations going around, but we're going to have to bring Squilliam in for the 3rd place spot. Squilliam, welcome to the booth. We almost thought that you weren't going to make it.
Man, I thought I wasn't gonna make it either, man. That was wild. I literally, what was it, like a 100th of a second or something?
5
Stupid, man.
thousandths of a second.
Really? Okay. Well, my numbers don't go that low, but I'll take the win or the third, excuse me, either way.
That was absolutely insane, and I'm sure I can speak for everyone. We thought you had something for Beaver and Nodovan. Unfortunately, the pit strategy didn't go your way, but when AJ was coming back up to you, it was hard not to look away from your battle. It was hard not to look away from the leaders. I didn't know where to point the camera.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting race. It was frustrating, definitely after the pit stops, realizing. I mean, I knew the whole time when I was in first that I was gonna get fuel saved on the whole time, and I was doing my best to try to stay ahead of everybody. And then just some, I mean, you've got guys behind you that are bump drafting and stuff like that, and there's just no way you're gonna beat them on pace alone. I should have started fuel saving a lot sooner than I did, and then when I came out the pits and Nodovan kind of had a shimmy there in turn 1, it kind of just threw me off, and he was able to get by, and so definitely a bit frustrating. I really think I could have been up there and fighting for the win, but that's just part of racing. So
Unfortunately, those kinds of incidents do happen out on track, but I tell you what, a 2nd and a 3rd, that ain't bad at all. Definitely something exciting to watch as a fan as well. We had quite a few squids in the chat cheering you on, and I can't say much more other than you put on an absolutely amazing show.
well, thank you, man. I do appreciate that. I think I'd like to think, I don't know what everybody else did, but I'd like to think my 3 wide around the outside of turn 1 was possibly the move of the night. But I'll have to go back and watch the replay tomorrow. That was really fun to pull off and also scary.
No, that definitely was the move of the night. I can tell you right now, I'm sorry for not bringing it up earlier, but I don't even, like, I was watching the battle for the lead and all of a sudden you were there. Like, you just came out of nowhere. It was incredible stuff.
Yeah, I
three
got a bit
cars
lucky with
in,
Nodovan, so
3 cars in 1.5 turns. Maybe we'll say 1.5 turns. But still, that was amazing.
yeah, no, very fun. Surprised I held it, but definitely glad I made it. Got a little lucky with Nodovan to be able to be behind those guys going into the bus stop, and I mean, it's a feature race. I'm not fighting for the championship or anything like that, so I figured I'd go for it, and it worked out.
All right, Squilliam. Well, we'll let you go, but before we do, who would you like to shout out? All the squids in chat, I'm sure, are looking forward to it. Friends, family, sponsors, the floor is yours. Third place ain't bad.
Oh, sponsors, man! I wish, but no. Everybody, thanks to everybody, all my friends watching. I really appreciate it. I haven't raced in a while, and it's cool to come back and them all still be watching and everything. So shout out to them, and shout out to everybody racing today. That was super fun, really clean racing, and some close, fun battles for sure.
All right, sounds good. Well, we will talk to you later, Squilliam. I look forward to seeing you for the final event in 2 weeks at Road Atlanta. And maybe if you're interested in hitting up the endurance race at Fuji Speedway next week as well.
Certainly, man. I'll be there at Atlanta. It's a home race for me. So
Oh, sounds good. Well, we expect you up in the podium. Hope you haven't just shot yourself in the foot with that one.
thanks, man. Have a good one.
You too. All right, that was Squilliam bringing it home in third position. Next up, though, is going to be Nick Beaver. I cannot believe that you ended that one in the second position. Can you believe that either? You must be in almost perpetual shock right now.
I don't believe you. Oh, yeah, you got the wrong guy.
That was absolutely incredible. I don't know what else to say. I mean, that finish was, I mean, we're probably going to have a look at it again before the replay is over between you two, and we're actually just going to have a look at it while we talk to you now, but that was honestly insane. I mean, talk us through, all I can say is all of the race. So let's start off here. The finish, because we have to talk about it. I mean, just expand on the amazingness of it. Do you realize, before you go, I'm just going to say, I don't think I've seen a finish that close ever. That was 2 thousandths of a second, and not too far behind you guys, Squilliam beat AJ by 5 thousandths of a second. So,
No kidding. Okay.
what was going on in that race?
Well, I was doing a lot of defending. I was trying to, you know, in the lead, you're a sitting duck, and not even was quick, so quick. So I had to do what I could to keep him at least beside me coming to the line. You know, when he kind of faked me out going into the bus stop, and I screwed up my entry, and that might have helped me kind of back him up a little bit. But yeah, screwed up the bus stop, got a little bit of a gap, and then yeah, just a run to the line. And yeah, I feel like I came up a little bit just to try to stop his momentum, but yeah, very close. It looks like it's about an inch between between us two at the finish line there.
I'm surprised you can even see an inch there, Beaver, because I certainly couldn't. And I tell you, that was absolutely awesome. But we want to talk about as well is the strategy in terms of, because you came down pit road and you decided not to stick with Nodovan and Squilliam when they had the draft. I mean, obviously you were still out there. You beat them out of pit road, except you didn't beat Nodovan, funnily enough. I want to talk about that with him, but for now I'll talk to you about beating AJ and Squilliam out. Was that the plan all along? Were you hoping that would happen when you came in without them earlier on, race?
Yeah, I was hoping so. I felt like I had a little more pace than Squilliam. Nodovan was pulling me along for sure. But once Nodovan caught Squilliam, I thought I'd be checking up then, and a little bit of clean air definitely wouldn't hurt. So yeah, I pit one lap early, got Squilliam. I was very happy by that. So I got some more clean air after that, but yeah, I just couldn't get Nodovan. I think we must have had very identical pit times. Must have. I don't know. But yeah, that was fun. And then yeah, the defending. The defending is so hard. I hate defending.
Well, I will say that none looked better, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but none looked better at defending than Squilliam in the two races tonight. But you did a great job as well, it must be said. A little bit of argy-bargy between the two of you coming to the line, but as to be expected on the final race. And luckily, neither one of you ruined each other's race in doing so. So that's really the main thing. But unfortunately, you couldn't pull the win or pull ahead tonight of that. But hey, it was a phenomenal race. You put on a great job. Who would you like to shout out to? Friends, family, sponsors, anyone you'd like to call out, Beaver? Floor is yours right now. So close.
Um, w- uh, so I'm curious what your timing says before I thank all my fans. Um, like, I don't know. The board says I got the W there by 1,000th of a second, so I'm just curious if
Interesting.
things are. Yeah, I don't know, but anyway, really cool.
Hang on.
That's
Are you
okay.
saying that just to kind of?
No, no. My results here have me ahead by 1,000th of a second, so I don't
Oh,
know what
okay.
I don't know. The timing's fishy, but anyway, it's okay. We were close enough. We might as well both be there, right?
Well, I tell you what.
But anyway,
Maybe you won. You know what? If you won, treat it as if you won. Let's go. Do it that way.
what's that?
Treat it as if you won, Nick. Just
Yeah.
you won. There you go. You did it. Good
Okay,
job.
okay. All right. Yeah, well, anyway. Tell me. Okay. Anyway. Thanks, Gareth, for putting this on. Hell of a job, Notivin. It was a great race. Squilliam did a good job too at the beginning. And yeah, that battle they had at the end looked pretty close too. So thank you. Thank J2I. Thanks, Hannah, for keeping me company. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Anyway, I'm very excited to watch this back and see what happens in the stream. This was a ton of fun.
Now, I'm trying to pause it at that exact moment, but it's not super easy to pause it right when I want to see just who pipped the line. But I keep on ending up like midway through the cars. But oh well. It was so close. But look, according to my timing software, you came second. According to yours, you came
Okay.
first.
Yeah.
I guess it'll be depending on what the stewards say more than
Yeah,
anything
right.
else.
This is going to be a cool post-race review. I love it.
All right. Well, all the best of luck. Maybe you did win. Maybe we've got it a bit wrong. If we did, I'm sorry, but you'll get to cheer on regardless. I mean, have a
Yeah.
beer. Have open some champagne, do something. I don't know, celebrate regardless, because it was
A
worthy
podium
of
is
a
a
win.
podium, right?
It was worthy of a win
Yeah.
regardless, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for joining us in the booth here, Beaver. We'll see you next week and the week after, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Take care.
Too. All right, Nodovan we will bring up, and he took home what we reckon is the first. Now, Nodovan, before you start speaking, because we want to let you know, we've been told by Beaver that he believes that he won according to his software and supposedly not joking about it and actually being proper. But from what I can see on my live timing software, it says that you were the winner. So what does it say from your screen?
I'm going off the race results, and it shows that he won by a splitter. Like, yeah, if you actually look in the league discussion, you can actually see the photo just as we crossed the line. He just barely nabbed me.
I do see that, so maybe I was wrong, but at the same time, no. See, it was so close. Either way, it was. So I will tell you right now, it was two thousandths of a second. Like it was that close, is what I was being told. Now, obviously, from what I can see on his, it said one was that 100th or 1,000th of a second is what it says on
He
that
won.
screenshot. So I don't know anymore. I'm lost. But I tell you what, Nodovan, let's forget all that for a moment. Whether you won, whether you came second, regardless, it was a fantastic race. I've got to amend you for that. There was so much going on, and we have to talk about the pit strategy because I don't know how you were able to continue on that race and not have to come in once again because I thought you were running on fumes, and then I thought your pit stop wasn't long enough, and then I thought you must have been running on fumes again. I mean, what was going on?
Nah, I had like 2 laps of fuel at the end still, so I was pretty good on fuel. But I was able to extend my stop by almost 2 laps compared to Beaver. Like I think if like just before I hit the pit entry during my pit stop, I actually ran out. So I was the car was kind of I don't know. I was out of fuel, so I wasn't. I think if I would have had like a liter more of fuel, I actually would have came out probably 2 seconds ahead of Beaver. But I was kind of sputtering into my pit stall, so that lost me a couple of seconds, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I thought I heard that you might have been blipping the throttle the entrance to your pit stall as well. I think we caught it on the broadcast just briefly while you were entering pit road, but either way, you still came out ahead and you did a great job. Now, we did notice a lot of your strategy seemed to be rather than trying to make a move into turn one on the outside, more or less would for the most part you'd stay behind someone and push them before turn one, and we saw Beaver do the same thing a couple times as well. The only one that really wasn't doing that up in the top three was Squilliam. I have to ask, was there some sort of strategy to that, or was it simply that you didn't think an outside pass would work on turn one? We saw a few tries at it and it didn't seem to work for most cases.
I would say it was mostly strategy. You're just kind of trying to get away from the cars behind, especially at the end. Like just by staying behind Beaver, I guaranteed myself a second place instead of trying to overtake him, battling, going back and forth, and then he catches up. Then it's a three-way battle, and then I think he had AJ behind him too, so that it's four. So it's just kind of lowers your probability of your highest finish. But um, yeah, it is also really hard to pass on the outside. I know Squid. He had an amazing pass in the first couple laps, and he went up to first after that. That was pretty impressive.
Well, yeah, it definitely was, but look, I can't go away from I can't go away from that finish because it was absolutely incredible. And not only were you and Beaver, according to my timing software at least, you pipped him by 0.02 of a second, but just behind you guys, whether you know it or not, Squilliam beat AJ by 0.05 of a second.
Yeah, I see that now. Nice.
Just that race had
We,
it
we we
all.
were closer though. We were closer.
Oh, well, you're so close. You have broken my timing software as far as I'm concerned. Um,
I I say we both get winner points, eh?
You know what? I mean, I can't say anything because I'm just the broadcaster, but as far as I'm concerned, you both do deserve winners' points because you put on a show that was definitely worthy of it. And not just for this race, but also the race previous. If you got both wins, even if you only got the race one win, it doesn't matter. I mean, obviously it matters for you and Beaver, but as far as a spectator is concerned and myself in the booth, it doesn't matter because the race was just absolutely phenomenal. And I can't say much more than that. Before we let you go, Nodovan, once again, shout out friends, family, sponsors. The floor's yours. Even if you didn't win, pretend like you did. Fantastic stuff.
I want to shout out to the admins, in case they want to give me a little leeway and give me however much the winner gets.
Sounds like a
so,
plan
so
to me.
yes. Please, thank you, all the admins. Thank you very much. Thanks for hosting this. Thanks for the great race. Um, and yeah, please give me my points.
All right, sounds good. Well, we'll let you go, Nodovan. It's been fantastic seeing you out on track, and we hope to see you again maybe 2 weeks at Road Atlanta and maybe for the endurance race at Fuji if you feel so inclined.
Yeah, probably. I really like Road Atlanta. I think I'll be very quick there, so I'll definitely be there.
All right, sounds good. We look forward to seeing you there and maybe beforehand. Take care, Nodovan, and we hope you get those points.
Yeah, goodbye.
Right, that was Nodovan bringing it home in the second or first place, as we're still completely unsure as to what is the go with that. We're going to have to wait for the admin decision on that one. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how that one ends up. But we'll be sure to let you know before the next sprint race and maybe even in the next enduro if a couple of these drivers decide to make it out there as well. On behalf of the Just Two Idiots Cup Series as well as Team Goon Squad, we would like to thank you all once again for coming. And look at that. As I pull up the results, it does say Nick Beaver has just pipped him at the line. So now I don't know what to think, but maybe Beaver won, maybe not even won. I mean, if you look at the results there, I mean, how can you even make a judgment on that, really? But look, either way, these drivers did an amazing job. I couldn't ask for a better race to call. It was nothing but action-packed from start to finish, both of the two races tonight. Thank you so much for watching, as I said, on behalf of Just Two Idiots Cup Series, the Sprint Series, and myself with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. I've been your host, Gareth McAllister, from the land down under. I hope I've brought you the action as best I could, and I will see you in a couple of weeks for the final round of the Sprint Series at Road Atlanta. Take care. See you in a couple of weeks.